thank you, Mark. Thank you, Omar. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be back in Pakistan. I've been here many times. I used to be the regional advisor in Kathmandu, so I used to come to Pakistan quite frequently. So it's a real delight to be back. A little more concrete around and a little more barbed wire than the last time I was here, which is unfortunate, but basically Islamabad's still the smiling, friendly faces and greeting everyone on the street. At a global level, the purpose of the WASH cluster and the reason that I have a job is to ensure the timely, effective, and predictable water, sanitation, and hygiene response in all humanitarian responses. There's a couple of key words there. Effective, timely, predictable. Those will never ever happen without preparedness. So a key in the whole cluster and making the cluster approach work is to be prepared. The other key word in the WASH cluster is all humanitarian responses. So I tend to talk about capital C cluster and small c cluster. Anywhere we have a humanitarian response, we want it to happen in a coordinated way. We want it to be effective, we want it to be timely, and we want it to be predictable. When the cluster approach is declared, as it was declared yesterday in Kyrgyzstan, it becomes my duty to respond effectively, timely, and predictably. When the cluster approach is not declared, it's a small c cluster, it's my job. It's still my job. Now, obviously, I'm not going to do this sitting in New York one person. I came into this job with two mandates. I was given two very clear marching orders when I came into this post about a year ago. One, to work hard to mainstream the cluster approach within UNICEF, and two, to drive the cluster approach to country level. The reason I'm really happy to be invited here is that being here over the next couple of days actually meets with both of my mandates. So you're in effect helping me do my job over the next few days, and for that I'm really thankful, because you are the people who are going to effectively, timely, and predictably respond, not me. So within a response, within any response, I'm also happy to see that there are some government people here. So the primary duty to respond falls to the government. The primary duty to coordinate a response falls to the government. This is their duty. However, water and sanitation fall into this category of rights that we talk about progressive realization of rights. So it's not expected that the government will be able to meet all of its duties all of the time. And in fact, every government at time needs help. It's not very well known, but the United States, during Hurricane Katrina, after about a month when things started to get really bad, turned to UNICEF for assistance in coordinating the water and sanitation response. So even the United States at times needs assistance. That's why we're here, the rest of us, to assist the government to fulfill its duty, to meet the realization, to make it real. When the government doesn't have the capacity to do the coordination effectively and needs some help, we should be able to step in and help them. If they're having trouble with the response, we should be able to step in and help them. The hierarchy, I think, is very important. We keep the hierarchy in mind as we respond. I'd like to correct Martin. Pakistan was not one of the first cluster responses. Pakistan was, in fact, the first response. And I was the first WASH cluster coordinator in the world at the earthquake here in Pakistan. He's right, there have been a lot of evaluations. There have been two major evaluations of the system. There's been a number of evaluations of the WASH response specifically. These evaluations show three things repeatedly. We make the same three mistakes over and over and over. There is always, and we've done it again in Haiti, there is a cultural divide. You have a lot of people coming into a country, running into the cluster and responding, who do not understand the culture of the people that they're working with. There is a language divide. People arriving in a country who don't speak the language and can't communicate with the communities. In Haiti, 11 of the 12 clusters are functioning in English, despite the fact that French is the language of the country and Creole is the language of the people. You have a cultural divide, you have a language divide, and you have a technology divide. You have people who have access to the internet and are on the web and join the Google group, and you have people who don't have computers or access to the web, and they're left out in the cold. And I'm afraid to admit that during the earthquake, the response that I was here to coordinate, we were guilty of all three sins. We made all three mistakes during the earthquake. The meetings took place in English, they took place here in Islamabad, and they took place electronically. So that's another reason why I'm really happy to be here for this training to work with you, because you people have the chance for us to finally learn the lesson that we have failed to learn for 5 years. It's only by doing the subnational and building the national capacity that we can ever have a chance of overcoming these three divides, which are critical if we're going to be effective. Finally, the evaluations generally show UNICEF, WASH as being the best cluster. And in Haiti, again, WASH is going to come out as probably the best, maybe logistics, but we're always either the best cluster or we're one of the best clusters. And outside of this room, when I'm talking in public, I'm very proud and I'm very bold and I'm very loud about saying WASH is the best. We are absolutely the best cluster. And outside of this room, within WASH, I'm actually quite frequently saying, within WASH, Pakistan is the best. If you're looking for models, if you're looking for approaches, if you're looking for ways of making it work, Pakistan seems to be figuring it out. This is our best model. I do not personally have a model that's better. So outside of this room, WASH is the best, Pakistan is the best. But inside this room, I ask a very different question. We may be the best, but the question is, are we any good? Are we actually adding value? Or is it a case of we're just the one-eyed person in the land of the blind? And if we are good, how do we get better? So over the next 3 days, I might be a little hard, and I might hammer you a little bit, but if I do, bear in mind that it's because I'm trying to make us better. So that a year from now, when the next evaluation takes place, the evaluators don't just say WASH is the best, but they actually say WASH is good, and they're doing a great job, and the rest of you should follow suit. So, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the next 3 days.
It is now at 9 o'clock. What I'm going to ask is that we now move up to the room upstairs. Let me just explain that we're going to have a video link with Kabul. We're going to be running the training in tandem at the same time with 10 or 12 representatives in Kabul. So in order to have the video link, we need to be in the room where all that technology is, and it's quite small. So it's really too small to stay for the entire 3 days. So we're going to be moving between the two. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it's the best we got, and I still think that there will be lots of advantages in sharing across the border. So, but we have a lot of technology that we just need to make sure everything is right. So we're due to start in 15 minutes with the video link to Kabul. So what I'd like to do is if we move upstairs and we can just find the space, get ourselves organized so we're ready